If I lost all my knowledge and all my capital and I had to restart from day one of day trading, this is exactly the blueprint that I would follow to become a profitable day trader. First, I would do my best to learn as much as I possibly could from YouTube for free. The majority of the information that people are going to try to charge you for is information that you can find totally free on YouTube. I would identify a philosophy that makes sense to me, that's easy to identify, and I would try to identify a setup within that philosophy that I could spot on a daily basis or a semi-daily basis that I could easily try to practice and learn over time. There are a lot of good sources that you can find on YouTube, but here are three that I highly recommend. The first is PJ Trades. PJ's helped me a lot over the years. He's somebody who I know personally now, and I consider him a good friend. He's somebody who teaches ICT strategy, which is not something that everybody likes. It's effective if you can get a grip on it. But more important than anything, PJ teaches a psychological approach to the markets that's effective, it's professional, and it's very disciplined, and it'll help any trader regardless of whatever strategy you're trading. The next person I recommend is a guy named Austin Silver FX. You can find him on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. He teaches a strategy that's centered around VWAP, which is volume weighted average price. It's a very simplistic approach to the market that I think that's very good for beginners. He also is one that really emphasizes consistency and base hits. He's not one of those guys that you're going to see hitting home runs with thousands of dollars in a trade. Sometimes he does that on a very good day, but most of the time he's just taking base hits. So I think he's a really good person to learn from as a beginner. The third person I recommend checking out is a guy named Rips, R-I-P-S. And his community is called Clubhouse Marketplace. So if you're looking for him on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram, you can search Rips or search Clubhouse Marketplace. And Rips, he trades order flow and momentum. Specifically, he has a method that he calls the pitch and catch. And the way that he reads order flow is by way of Bookmap, which is a level 2 data software. I happen to use that as well. I highly recommend it. I think that's a little more advanced for beginners, but his trading style in terms of order flow and momentum is one that I think is highly effective, and it's pretty easy for beginners to understand. So I recommend checking him out as well. Once I've identified a philosophy and then a strategy within that philosophy that is simple and easy to understand, I would then begin to paper trade. And the way that I would do this is I would use a platform called TradingView, tradingview.com. And with TradingView, you can sign up for free and you get a paper account. However, there's a caveat to that. You will have delayed data unless you pay for the live data, the live CME data if you're trading futures. After establishing a system that works and trading paper for at least 2 months with repeated success, I would then switch to buying a cheap prop firm account. The reason you would do this instead of using your own personal capital is pretty simple. Your risk is very small, very limited, while still allowing you to learn and make real money. You purchase a prop firm account, you have an evaluation. You have a profit target in that evaluation. You have a max amount that you can lose. There's some other rules as well, but the main two rules is don't lose too much and you need to make this amount. Once you've made X amount of dollars, they move you to a funded account. In that funded account, you will build a buffer. Everything above that buffer is yours to withdraw. Typically, the prop firm, depending on their rules, will keep a percentage of those profits. It's roughly 10% to 15%, some even 20%. But you're still making real money with a very, very limited risk. Once I've been taking consistent payouts every opportunity that I possibly can for 9 to 12 months, that is the point at which I would start beginning to trade personal capital. I would look into the best brokerage at that point. For me personally, currently, it's a brokerage called AMP, A-M-P, but you don't need to even worry about that until you've been taking consistent prop firm payouts for at least 9 to 12 months minimum. Most importantly, I would not rush the process. I would focus heavily on mastering my psychology and my mental approach to the markets. That's why I put PJ at number 1 on my recommended list of people to check out, because that is something that he helped me out tremendously, more than anyone else. Your ability to master your psychology will determine your success with trading, without a doubt. So focus obviously on learning a strategy and a philosophy that makes sense and a setup, but more important than anything, realize that your ultimate key to success with trading is your ability to master your mind. Stay focused, stay consistent, show up on a daily basis, and stay patient.